Okay, as parents of everyday living with raising children, do you stop and ask yourself, are video games an addiction for our children, or are they safe? With that impression left in mind, that games are for parents to get more involved and be aware of what our kids are playing these days and how addicted they're becoming. Looking at their habits from before and after they started, and reviewing what you see as a parent. It's part of parenting skills, and that's our job. Game addiction can be short-term or long-term, and can have many effects that gaming addiction causes to children, and can sometimes lead to higher risk than what we think we know it could be. As a parent, we think video gaming keeps our kids at home, safe from being on the streets, or at least knowing what they're doing. But in reality, let's learn some of the risk factors to look for, strategies to help our children with video gaming addiction. Because at the end, it's actually unhealthy and it comes with more problems. It might keep your kids at home and off the streets, but it might cause some unhealthy issues in the long run. Video gaming can have both short-term and long-term, like I said earlier, on these kids these days. The problem for parents is rising every day, with our children becoming gaming addicted. Consequently, we, as parents, lie to ourselves when we see the signs right in front of us. Most people say, no, don't worry about it. Your kid at least is at home video gaming. But in reality, no, that's not a good thing. Be aware of the signs that are yelling at you right in front of your face before it's too late to help your child overcome video gaming addiction, or the challenge gets tougher. The risk factors for our children that are addicted to video gaming can be a hard thing to overcome for both the parent and the child, because it's a challenge for both. The difficulties that come with the addiction are anxiety, insomnia, emotional, and no interest in things they used to enjoy doing. These are just a few things to look for, but there's many more other signs. If your child doesn't fall in these categories, mine did. These are the examples that I use from my experience. Yours might fall into the other categories. According to Dr. Brent Conrad, clinical psychologist for tech addiction, learning and doing plenty of research was one of my main importance of helping my children. To find me the right resources to help prepare me to help my two children, my 16-year-old and my 12-year-old, that fell into the video gaming addiction for a short-term period, I say, Dr. Conrad and his research helped me with his book. I noticed that they needed help. My signs I saw in them were a few hours of sleep, barely even eating any meals, lack of interest in activities that they always enjoy doing, less socializing with friends, and the main thing that caught my eye was not wanting to be involved in family get-togethers or trips. They wanted to stay home and play video games, when in reality we always did things together. That was not going to slide. It was getting out of hand. So I took the big challenge, and I challenge you to take the big challenge in helping your children. If you see these signs of video gaming addiction, and don't turn your face or look the other way. They're there, and they need to be stopped. Use persist authority so that your children understand you hold the authority at home. Set clear guidelines. For example, the max time spent daily or weekly on gaming, limit them. Use the reward system. Allow them to allow them so much time for completing their homework and their chores to be able to access video gaming for a short period. And don't let them increase their time or convince you to, because it'll become a problem again. Another one, if you face the long-term addiction, I personally would recommend removing gaming completely out of your home, out of the visible where your children can see it, or the environment they hang around in that has to do with video gaming, so that they don't get the temptation. Help them overcome those problems. Based on Dr. Brent Conrad's research and book he has made available to every parent all over the world to learn the signs, problems, and risks your child is showing when video gaming is allowed in your home. There is a treatment for a child to overcome their addiction with your guidance beside them. Although there is no definite amount of hours set to be considered an addicted video gaming, the warnings that most experts go by are excessive playing, which result with negative emotional, social, educational consequences and unhealthy for children at such a young age. So let's team up and help all these young children overcome gaming addiction. Thank you.